All right, Aries, swift action seems to be on the docket this Gemini season. I mean, a very Aries phrase already, but you know that scene, let's say in a superheroes movie or like an Avengers type film where all the heroes are coming together and then it's just boom, they all go flying off and it's like bing, bang, pow, kabam, spoosh. It's just all these attacks with precision and everything. You know what to do. It's like you've trained so hard, you know exactly what you need to do, you know what your mission is, you know what the objective is. It seems like that, in that things are going to be moving very quickly. I mean, Mars is moving into Aries on the 24th of May. We have Jupiter already in Aries, and so just kind of get ready for what's to come. Even too, I think for some of you might be laying to rest a part of your life, or maybe even some of you are going to be mourning. There might be a funeral. I just saw a figure kind of digging a grave. So whether that's literally or metaphorically in terms of saying goodbye or letting go to something that's no longer in your life, I think for many of you, it can just be a part of yourself that you are letting go of, or a part of yourself that no longer resonates, right? Like a belief or a mindset to take you into this next expansion. Because then I just saw this figure pulling back like a slingshot and just letting it ready to fly very, very far. So huge action taking place, swift movement. And if you feel like that's not taking place currently, just kind of examining parts of your life that are needing to be let go, or that are ending, or that are quite literally dead, taking the time to grieve and then moving on when you're ready, knowing that when you are ready to move on, things are probably going to be taking off very quickly. And if you're in a state where both are happening, where you need time to process and integrate, but things are just happening so quickly, then to not be afraid to reach out, right? There's some really nice cards here that new communication, new offers, new energy is coming in very well. I think for some of you as well that have children or like teenagers in your life, they could be a source of levity or support as well, which is sometimes we don't want to be vulnerable to our children, to our nieces and nephews. Not saying you have to necessarily divulge everything, but it could just be being around that type of energy can be uplifting, or some beautiful messages are there as well. Okay. Is there anything else I wanted to say on that? Watermelon was coming through a lot. So maybe just eating watermelon 'tis the season for many of us. And April 19th came through as a date, especially in terms of that kind of morning energy, or when things were shifting, maybe like a paradigm shift. So for some of you, kind of just circling back to the end of Aries season to see what was coming through there. And if we're still on track, let's say if we're still on track to the goals and the ambitions that we set on our birthday, or if we need to readjust with Mercury retrograde to recalibrate and then come back even stronger, okay? So the first three cards that I pulled, we have the Page of Swords with the Moon and the High Priestess. Boom, boom, boom. Intuition right here, right? And with the Page of Swords, it could also just be new ideas, new conversations, brainstorming through your intuition. So it could be something brand new that came through, especially around eclipses. You're like, oh, I didn't even think this was a possibility, or a lot of things are now moving. I need to put myself in these rooms or connecting with these people because it just feels right. And I really want you to trust that intuitive knowing. I think for some of you as well, the moon in tarot being very much linked to Piscean energy, and of course, the moon being the ruling planet of Cancer. So you might be connecting, collaborating, negotiating with a Cancer or a Pisces, or they might just be a great energy to hold space for you with regards to the emotions. But either way, I want you to tune into that emotional self, that feminine self, a place to receive, what ideas are coming through, what support is needed for all this swift action to take place. That's coming through later in the reading, especially with the channel, right? And with the moon there as well, for some of you, it might be new conversations or negotiations, collaborations happening at night. So this kind of came through for Sagittarius as well, actually, of bumping into the right people at the right time, in terms of when you're going out or going to the club or going to events or going to restaurants, that you might just be connecting with people when the moon is very active, right? So even for some of you watching, in the rare case, if you're a Cancer rising watching this, all that Aries energy is going to be taking place in your 10th whole sign house, which is fame, honor, reputation. So there's big opportunities there as well, right, to connect with these greater people. So we want to put ourselves in a position where we are thinking, speaking, believing all of these right actions, and not just foregoing these kind of intuitive downloads, being like, oh, that's a weird thought. Next. No next. Everything's taking place rapidly in our physical realm. More often than not, it's also happening in the metaphysical realm, with all these energies being very palpable. And we're just coming off the heels of eclipse season, right? As we enter into Gemini season. So dreams as well, both in the literal and metaphorical sense, are going to be very prevalent. So paying attention to your dreams and what's coming through there, and maybe even asking your subconscious for messages or notions as you sleep. Kind of like, universe, show me how it gets better, or what do I need to focus on moving forward, or what love is mine to be had, or what do I need to do to call in higher love? Asking those questions to your subconscious, to your higher self, to God, source, the universe, so your subconscious can kind of kick up that energy and allow it to come to the surface as you are sleeping. If that's something that resonates, I also think that maybe even just working physically at night, or journaling or ritual work at night, could be very beneficial. Okay, good. The next 3 cards I pulled, we have the Strength card with the 9 of Wands and the Page of Wands. So this is like, you have the strength, the tenacity, the energy, Aries. This could also be a connection, of course, with the Leo. But I also want you to know too what your boundaries are, being like, I'm willing to connect. I'm willing to be a part of all these different opportunities and options, but I'm not going to compromise. I'm not going to lower my worth. Especially if there are other people coming in with like these little wands and these little ideas, being like, oh yeah, let's work together. Like, let's connect. Let's go on a date. You're like, no, like that. I am a lion. I am not just going to connect with a lowly page here. If that page doesn't represent a person and represents instead an energy, we're only going to entertain it if it's actually something that brings us joy, that's exciting, that's motivational. And this can also be something as well that for some of us, we don't always have to be on the defensive here, that we can allow ourselves to enjoy and to have fun and to play. Plain and simple. I mean, usually Aries doesn't have a problem with that, but if you're feeling like you've just been putting in so much work and energy and everything's happening really fast, this is a time as well where we're not lowering our worth by any means, but we're not blocking blessings either. We want to just be able to welcome that in, especially if it feels good. And I think that feeling good and connecting with our emotional self is why the Moon and the High Priestess came in here, that we can use our voice to call more of that in, knowing we have the strength, we have the energy, we have the tenacity. And I think people are also recognizing that you're not one to play with. If we're going with the kind of superhero Avengers type mindset, they're not just gonna approach you half-heartedly. And if they do, we need to make sure that our own internal calibration is exact and on point for more fun, more blessings. And just, I mean, with 2 pages here as well, this kind of again circles back to the notion of children or childlike energy, or maybe even circling back to what you wanted as a child. And if you're addressing that or healing those wounds, or if there's a part of you that maybe doesn't feel worthy and that you feel like you're not able to uphold your boundaries and your self-worth, that we're going back to how our inspiration, our thoughts, how we communicate, whether or not we were able to be seen and heard as a child or not. And of course, the Moon really does connect to the mother. So for those of you who maybe don't feel like everything is go, 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 bang, bang, boom, we want to take time to reevaluate and restructure ourselves to reclaim our power. And a lot of that can be done through that inner child work, maybe even potentially some therapy or having a healer, a guide, a mentor support us. Because I think it's very evident, your bottom card here, Aries, Ace of Pentacles. Unlimited amounts of money and opportunity are just waiting to be showered upon you. Tidal waves of prosperity crashing everywhere. And so either way, it's coming. We just get to call in however much we want at any given time based on our boundaries, self-worth, and what we need to feel safe and supported. Okay? That's all. So that is our general reading for this Gemini season. If this reading resonated and you want to say thank you with a tip or a donation, it's always appreciated to support this content creation. I'll put the link to our PayPal in the description of this bio. If you would like to go into these themes even further with a one-on-one reading, all of our availability is now up to date on our website for the rest of May and June. Please note that after June 18th, our books are going to be closed until Virgo season. I'm going to be working on a couple projects over the summertime. And I have room on my roster for one more coaching client who would like long-term accountability, growth, coaching. So if that is something of interest to you, you can go to the Contact Us page on our website and reach out to me there, and we'll go and connect, okay? Thank you, Aries, for watching. Have a beautiful Gemini season. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.